Have you ever seen those memes of people posting or commenting on a video or photo of Ryan Gosling from Drive with the caption, "Ryan Gosling is literally me"? There's nothing wrong with relating to a fictional character. I've personally related to many fictional characters throughout my life, but no one ever truly questions or wonders, why do we relate to these lonely protagonists? Travis Bickle, Harold Crick, Bruce Banner, Peter Parker, Clark Kent, Wolverine, John Rambo, Will Hunting, The Grinch, B-Rabbit, Theodore, Willy Wonka, Mad Max, Stanley Ipkiss, the list goes on and on. There are too many lonely protagonists to include, and some of these characters can be loosely labeled lonely. And you could endlessly discuss, compare, contrast, and analyze every aspect of them, and the conversation would never end. So what is it that draws people to see a part of themselves in those characters? Is it the sad boy culture of today? The uncertainty of being alone with ourselves and our own thoughts in a global pandemic? Our own insecurities being projected onto a character to justify our personal life choices? Now, I may be projecting or even reaching with what I'm going to say next, but regardless of how fulfilled or satisfied you may feel currently in life, there will always be those moments of you in your lonesome contemplating something in your current life, giving you that sense of longing for something, having doubts, being lost or unsure, being unfulfilled, having regrets. And when you watch a movie and see a character in that same self-contemplating predicament, it is in that moment that you see yourself in the lonely protagonist. We feel the same emotions as them, and that's what movies do. It excites us, makes us sad, angry, motivated, everything. I'm no expert on mental health, nor am I trying to diagnose anything with this video. I am mainly looking at the aspects of 4 fictional characters I've chosen and view them from a movie lens and try to understand why we, the audience, relate to their loneliness. My first example of a lonely protagonist is the driver from Drive. When we see Ryan Gosling ride off into the night, we get the music and visuals that emphasize those late night drives to or back from work, where it feels like life has slowed down during our commute, and we contemplate our humanity within the moment. We're completely alone with our thoughts in this giant moving steel box, steering wheel in hand, our stereo booming, a dark road lit up ahead of us, and you just marvel at how comforting it is to be synchronized with music, technology, and nature. Maybe this is how the driver feels when he gets off from one of his jobs. Maybe it's how we feel in that moment. Speaking of another Ryan Gosling character with the same traits, anyone who's seen Drive should also recognize how similar the driver is to Kay from Blade Runner 2049. A loner, not great with women, man of few words, but a man of action. When it comes to why people relate to Kay as a character, maybe it speaks to the people who long for a significant other like Joy, who loves them unconditionally. Joy is like the cute e-celeb tempting you to check out their content and offer you emotional or even sexual validation in exchange for money. They tell you everything you want to hear, and you fall into it because ignorance is bliss. But like how Kay eventually loses and gives up on Joy to save Deckard, we also have to wake up from that illusion of being told what we want to hear and listen to what we need to hear. There is also the aspect of being our own person when it comes to making a choice. We're all raised with different backgrounds and upbringings, but eventually a few of us become influenced by the outside world, and that's when we begin to challenge our beliefs. We want to have a mind of our own and not conform to what we previously knew from our upbringing. You may be raised in a heavily religious household with many restrictions, but as you rebel, you learn there are more layers to life than what you were originally told. And so, a replicant like Kay, whose only job is to hunt other replicants, whose only friend/lover is a mass-produced virtual woman, and someone who is of no true importance to the war between humans and replicants, chooses to break free of his genetically engineered mental bonds and finally make a choice of his own. Like a great man once said,
"A man chooses, a slave obeys."
And speaking of choosing, another lonely protagonist I guess you could somewhat include is Neo from The Matrix. Mainly Neo when he's Thomas Anderson. The scene where he confronts his boss when he's late for work is a position I'm sure every one of us has been in before. In the montage of the Matrix 4 development team, with White Rabbit playing throughout, sure feels like an eerily similar rat race. You wake up, work, eat, relax, sleep, repeat. Wake up, work, eat, relax, sleep, repeat. Again, the music and visuals really play a part here and simulate a familiar kind of emptiness slowly filling your insides as you see Thomas repeat his day-to-day life and slowly grow eccentric from it. Wake up, work, eat, relax, sleep, repeat. Work, eat, relax, sleep, repeat. Wake up, work, eat, relax, sleep, repeat. Wake up, work, eat, relax, sleep, repeat. It makes you think that perhaps we are all truly plugged into a matrix of our own making us feel like we're forever stuck in this cycle of mundane, unescapable routines, begging constantly in the back of our minds to break free of the cycle and rat race that is the workforce, to become untethered and become our true and free selves. That Neo inside all of us, screaming to escape, wanting to rip off that cord in the back of our heads, longing for the mental comfort of being the one in control of our own destiny and not being bound to our predetermined fates. Robert Pattinson's Batman is also another good example of a lonely protagonist. Obviously, he's not truly a lonely character, especially with Alfred, Gordon, and Selina as close allies, but he has this underlying pain and sickness of carrying Gotham on his shoulders as Batman to the point where Bruce Wayne feels non-existent. He is literally out there night and day as Batman. The trauma of losing his parents weighs so heavily on him to the point where he doesn't care what happens to him when he's out on his crusade. Some of us can be so engaged and enveloped in our own personal endeavors or personal issues, just like Robert Pattinson's Batman, that we would rather burden ourselves rather than seek help from others. That kind of self-destructive behavior not only weighs heavily on a person physically, but also mentally. It could even be one of the core reasons why we relate to a lonely protagonist. Our traumas, our experiences, and our pain are our own and no one else's. Only we understand it, and only we can handle it. So when we isolate ourselves in hopes of bettering ourselves, we do more harm than good. You stew in your own thoughts, your mind plays tricks on you, and you become so obsessed with finishing that script, editing that video, writing that book, losing that weight, gaining that muscle, getting that job, creating that website, starting that business, whatever personal goal you want to achieve. You become so obsessed with trying to do the best you can, but you forget you have flaws, and those flaws can outweigh your efforts so heavily, and sometimes it feels like nothing changes at all when you put all of your effort into trying. And then you think to yourself, Batman probably feels this way. 2 years in Gotham, and crime has only gone up. Maybe he's not making a difference. How many years have you tried to achieve your own goal? Maybe you can't make a difference even if you tried. It's very self-defeating. But then you realize, like Batman does in the resolution of the movie, you have had an effect on your surroundings, even if very little. You're not the only one who's scarred. Your scars can destroy you, even after the physical wounds have healed. But if you survive them, they can transform you, give you the power to endure, and the strength to fight. These, quote, literally me, or, quote, lonely protagonists, can touch on very human aspects of life if you allow them to be more than just caricatures for some role-playing account on the internet. A lot of us can be socially awkward, insecure, or not confident in ourselves, and it is through these characters that we see unable to talk to people, unable to cope with their losses, unable to feel in control, unable to open their hearts, and when they struggle like how we would, a little bit of that personal pain goes away. And when they overcome their own loneliness, their own pain, we feel empowered to rise above our own. So let me know in the comments, what lonely character do you relate to, and why? Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe and click the bell notification to not miss any future uploads, and I'll see you in the next video.